Hey, this is Steve Mutria from TorahFamily.org, and I have never listened to the Shabbat Lounge.
Hi, welcome to another edition of Shabbat Lounge. Today I come before you with a podcast entitled Take Time to Look at the Birds. Take time to smell the roses, if you will. So in my job, I find myself outside a great deal. And so any typical day, I probably am, in the winter, I'm probably 50% outside, 50% inside. And in the summertime, I am almost exclusively in and out, and more outside than in. And, you know, I am in landscaping at the moment, and I enjoy being outside, and I'm out a lot. But today was different. I was around an older person with a tremendous amount of peace. She's about 86 years old and still gets out and can get her hands dirty and do yard work, which is impressive. And I hope to be that way when I'm her age. But she's very impressive, and in her backyard and side yard, she had it surrounded with bird feeders. She probably had 15 or 20 bird feeders and a bird bath out there. And as we're sitting out there, you just see at some point there's about 20 different birds that come feed out there. And she knows them by name. She can identify the kinds of birds and tell you about them and about their different characteristics. And you can tell that watching those birds is such a big deal to her, and such a enjoyable thing that she does. But it made me realize how little I do that in a job which I find myself outside a tremendous amount. And there is just so much peace and joy that we can get from the simple things the Father gave us. He gave us this stuff to look at, to use, to enjoy, to, and so often we fill our lives with modern conveniences, gadgets, and they're great, and I am not willing to give up my car and start walking everywhere I need to go. I'll be the first to say, I don't want to do that, but there is something to be said about slowing down, looking at the flowers, looking at the birds, listening to silence. And the Father spoke to me in those moments, talking to this lady, standing on her porch, just taking time for her to hear what she needed me to hear and make a plan for her backyard. It's time well spent. She's well grounded. And it also confirmed to me when we build spaces, when we build buildings, that we've got to build access to the outdoors. Young and old, people in an office, everybody needs to be able to see outside. And if you have an office space or a building, if you can try to incorporate at least a bird feeder or a water feature of some kind, especially if you live in some place like Texas where, our main issue is it being dry. Water will attract birds about as much as anything, because there is an argument if you have a feeder out, you're going to attract rats, squirrels, a bunch of other stuff you don't want. And I tend to kind of agree with that. But anyway, the point is, get outside, be still, be quiet, unplug, talk to people, just be silent in nature. Look, observe it and appreciate its beauty, because it's all around us. Even if you live in the city, there is still nature. There are still creatures and wildlife that is adapted to be in the city. But that's just my thoughts from today. Is I've got to take more time to just to sit and enjoy what nature's doing, and also to do things to encourage it to develop more on my place and in places, even if it's sitting inside your house looking out a window watching something. Try to take time to be still, to be quiet, and talk to the Father. Those are great moments to do that in, and it's so important to unplug. So there is a very famous quote from a really bad person, I do believe, but he said something about tune in and drop out. Well, in essence, that's what we need to do to the world. He was not talking about that, and nor am I condoning anything that guy said, because I know he was like a really creepy guy who said that. But I am talking about tuning out of Babylon, dropping out of Babylon, dropping out of this society and what people around us tell us we have to do and think and be, and tuning into what the Father wants us to be about. The Father says, look at the birds. They don't worry. They're provided for. I keep coming back to the Jacob-Esau thing. We so often want to be like Esau, take matters into our own hands, do what we want to do, and the Father wants us to be like Jacob, who was about his father's business. So I just want to leave you with that. Go home, read that passage in the Bible about Matthew, and it's in the Gospels, Synoptic Gospels, about don't worry, look at the birds. And so I encourage you to do that and think about those and have your eyes open to nature. And once again, I ask you to comment, like, subscribe, share this with someone if you find it beneficial, tell someone about it if it helps you. But once again, thank you for listening to Shabbat Lounge.